I'm Rebekah Ricks here at the Homeschool Connection, and this is our weekly show, The Brew. And The Brew is a mixture of people, events, or things that come together to form a more potent whole. And we hope that we can make your whole a whole lot better. And so today, because it's Monday, I have my Texas-sized cup of coffee. What would the brew be without coffee? And today we're going to be talking about nurturing your child's passion while maintaining balance. Okay, well, let's first talk about a passion for a child. You know, sometimes when your child struggles in school, it's usually really easy to focus on what they can't do instead of really focusing on what they can do. But research has shown that kids really do need something that showcases their strengths on a regular basis to make them feel happy. So hopefully you can get that passion and it can be something academic. And it does need to have a good balance between their strength and their weakness. You know, they need more than just academics to thrive. The Bible says we can't live by bread alone. So sometimes we do need something, a passion to make us thrive. A spark, something that's exciting, something that brings joy to their life. So usually a child can, if you ask them, they know what their special spark is. It's really hard when you go to a child and say, what do you like? What's your favorite subject? What's the one thing your favorite subject of all? And then PE, lunch. We get something like that. But if we can get them really to identify, so usually if you dig a little deeper, well, what do you like more than PE? Well, I really like science. Okay, well, great. What part of science do you like? And if you can dig in deeper and find that spark, sometimes it is a physical activity is their thing. Sometimes it's volunteer work. Sometimes it's helping. A spark for some kids isn't just something that's fun. It's something that makes their child feel their best about themselves when you're out doing it. And if you really aren't sure about that spark, then ask them, dig deeper, because I think it's really important for a child to have a spark. And if they haven't found one, include them in clubs or activities, or see if there's a talent that you see that's fallen along the wayside. Sometimes it takes kids longer to find their passion, but it's really important to identify that child's passion or that child's spark. It's really a huge part of their development as they get older to make sure that they have that thing that's so important to them. And also, when you find that spark, usually it'll be something that can bring another adult into it. Because I think it's really important for students to have as many supportive adults in their lives as possible, whether it's a teacher or a coach or whatever, as they're learning that spark. Maybe it's an extracurricular activity, because you do want them to be able to connect with other adults and other people in the outside world. We want them to be able to connect and have positive interactions and realize that they're really good at something. If they struggle at something, a piano teacher or a lacrosse coach. I'm not good at either of those things. Piano and lacrosse are not my thing. But those teachers are important role models. There's someone that they can look to and say, a lot of times kids will be like, oh, my mom says I'm really good at this, and that's their job. Moms always tell everyone they're good at something. But it's important for us as teachers, parents, adults to not be just champions of your child in general, but champions of something that they like, their passion. And if the spark isn't academic, that's fine. Help them find it and help them really build that self-esteem and that happiness, and that's something that they can do. Now, let's talk a little bit about balancing those two things. Nurturing your child while maintaining a balance. So a lot of times it's really hard. One of my favorite books growing up was Thaddeus Toad. And Thaddeus Toad has what we call manias. He would have a mania and he would be crazy about something and he would go after it 100%, and then he would get tired of it and then he'd go on to his next mania. So I'm kind of a mania person. Like, I get into something and I love it. Kind of like, a binge watcher. I like a TV show and I want to watch every episode until I'm completely done that. So a lot of people are like that. So how do we can maintain that balance? We don't want that to be all consuming. So if your child is into something that's not academic, as important as it is to have something that is their spark, their thing, there's something that they're good at, there's something that they're exceptional at, it's also important to be able to balance that. So if you can bring that spark into something that's academic, that's always the best, because if you're struggling at school, it's great to be able to have something else. So here's some ways to think about maintaining that balance. If you are homeschooling, that's a little bit harder because it's a little bit easier because you can bring that passion into something full circle. So let's say that soccer is your passion. You are into soccer, soccer is your thing, and I know a lot of kids that soccer is their thing. Okay, well, not just going to practice and not just learning about it, learn more than that. Read about great soccer players. Read about strategies of playing soccer, things like that. Write about why you love soccer, balancing it out. Teammates, what are some things that you can do? Think about the whole picture of what it is that you love or are good at. Piano, music, dance. Those things might not necessarily be completely academic, but they could be brought into academic. Learning the vocabulary about it, learning the people about it, learning things, balancing that with something that's academic. So when I was growing up, I thought I wanted to be a nurse. So, and I would play nurse. I also played teacher, so I don't know, but there was no famous teachers growing up. So I did every report on Clara Barton, because I thought I wanted to be a nurse, and my parents were really good about Clara Barton started the American Red Cross, and she did some overseas during the Franco-Prussian War. And so I studied a lot about Clara Barton because she was a nurse and I wanted to be her, and Florence Nightingale. And then as I got older, what's her name? Her last name was Blackwell. She was the first female doctor in the United States. I read and studied and did papers on these people because those were things I was interested in. And so my parents took that, something that I was interested in, and brought it full circle. Now, we always played sports growing up, but I'm not very sportsy. I mean, I could trip over a cordless telephone. I mean, I'm super klutzy. My sister is a runner, and she runs 1,000,000 races every year. She's really good at that. But if you're going to do that, then learn everything there is about being that part of that thing. So balancing it, bringing the academic into it. If it's something they really enjoy, bring reading into it. So hopefully that's a little bit of a help. You know, balancing is hard. We're all always going to struggle with the balance. I mean, look, this is a Texas-sized cup. I don't know if you can tell how huge this is, but this is really like 4 cups of coffee in one. Overdoing it. So we always run the risk of overdoing it. So make sure that you are balancing. It's super important to make sure your child has a passion, but it's also important to balance that passion with something academic. Hopefully that was a little help, you know, and don't forget you're not alone. We are here to help. And that we'll see you on Friday morning with an extra shot of espresso.